Good evening. It is August 13th, 2024. I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Board of Water Commissioners. This meeting is being held in person and remotely as an alternate means of public access pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023 and all other applicable laws, temporarily amending certain provisions of the open meeting law. You are hereby advised that this meeting and all communications during this meeting may be recorded by the Town of Hingham in accordance with the open meeting law. If any participant wishes to record this meeting, please notify the chair at the start of the meeting in accordance with Mass General Laws, Chapter 38, Section 20F, so that the chair may inform all other participants of said recording. Is there anyone recording? Seeing none, time is now just a minute after 6, and participating in the meeting this evening are Bill Ramsey, Liz Klein, and myself, Joe Fisher. First item on the agenda is approval of minutes. And I will note, before I take a motion, that for the minutes on June 26th, that we're going to do just one amendment. Those minutes note at 2 p.m. I called the meeting to order, and then it says towards the bottom, Chair Ramsey opened the meeting. So I'm going to change that.
Feel free.
Mind, Mr. Ramsey.
Especially that meeting.
To Chair Fisher. So that will be that one change. And so with that, I am prepared to accept a motion on the minutes.
I'd make a motion to approve the minutes dated June 26, 2024.
Second.
Roll call vote. Liz?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
And I am an aye as well. Is there another
I will
motion?
make a motion to approve the minutes dated July 2nd, 2024.
Second.
Roll call vote. Bill?
Aye.
Liz?
Aye.
And I am an aye as well. So we are approved. Next on our agenda, update from Veolia regarding the Ware River Water System June 2024 Water Quality Event, Assessment, and Communication Plan. And at this point, I will first turn it over to our town administrator, Mr. Mayo, just to set this up and introduce who will be speaking.
Sure. So Russ Tierney and I have been working for the last few weeks with the folks from Veolia, with John Oatley as the new vice president over there and his team to try to put together both an explanation of what happened and a communication plan going forward. They've done that, and I think they're here tonight to present it. John?
Yes, so Russ, and anything you would like to add before we turn it over to John?
No, we're all set. I've reviewed it with John and everybody, and I think it's good to go. It's a good plan, and we've already started, and putting some of it into play, like the Facebook page and a few other things. But I'll let them do what they're doing, and give you an update on what we're doing. And between all of us, I think would
Great.
improve greatly.
So if you don't mind just introducing your team for the record, please.
Good, John.
Sure. Well, thank you, everyone. I appreciate the opportunity to come before you again this evening. I'm John Oatley, the Regional Vice President of Operations for Veolia in the Northeast. With me today is Mike Leahy, our Regional Manager, who oversees the operations here at the Ware River Water System, and Darren Dirth, who's our Project Manager, overseeing the operation at this locality. So.
And do we have anyone else on screen?
Oh, yes, sorry. Sorry, Chris. And coming to us live from Toronto is Chris Halloran, our Director of Communications for Veolia North America.
He's demonstrating the effectiveness of on-screen and online communication, so thank you, Chris.
Yeah, so again, I really appreciate the opportunity to come again before you to kind of discuss, the updates from the June 19th event, that discoloration event that occurred unexpectedly on June 19th, and then lasted for approximately 50 hours, which was a very concerning and lightning event for all of us. We certainly learned a lot of lessons. We spent the last several weeks digging into the event, and then also primarily updating our communications plan, as Russ described, working collaboratively with Russ and his team to make sure we get it right this time around. So we submitted our report primarily as we initially expected. It wasn't a single thing that we could find that led to the increased demand, but we believe it was more of a cascading things that were occurring over time that led to not only the severity of the discoloration event, but also the duration. I'm happy to report that we made it through July 4th with no incident. So I think the measures that were put in place were effective, and we're really looking forward to presenting tonight kind of what we feel is a really robust communications plan, and I think we all agreed after the event that that was really a significant failure, if you will, on how to get information out, get it out to the right people, get it out at the right time. And I think we've made some really strong strides in that respect that we're here to present for you tonight.
Great.
So with that, we did put together a presentation. Chris, I don't know if you want to take it from this point and kind of
Sure thing.
describe kind of what we've come up with and how we plan to address communications.
Thank you, John. As John indicated, we've been working collaboratively to figure out, the best way moving forward for us to get information out. I'm trying to make this larger, and I don't know if I can, but bear with me. My apologies. That's a little better. So, just a quick review of the incident. As discussed, it took place on June 19th. Where water system customers began to notice discoloration in their drinking water. Over the next few days, the severity of the discoloration became more apparent, and the frequency became more apparent. The onset was triggered by a hydraulic disturbance, which caused some of the sediment throughout the system to become dislodged, and we then respond to that as best we can operationally. But from the communication standpoint, we noticed that there were a lot of issues that needed to be improved upon. Our previous communications were the Ware River Water System website, the Notify system. Notify is it's a system that's used by Veolia where customers can opt in, and when something comes up, whether it's no matter what scale it is, whether it's a routine repair or whether it's an emergency such as the one we experienced on June 19th, they get notifications directly from Veolia. And then there's also our civic stakeholders, our OEM, our fire departments, municipal managers. There's outreach there. Since then, we've improved our reach by updating stakeholder contacts. One of the things we ran into on the 19th was realizing that some of the initial communications we sent out were not being received. People had changed their emails or changed their phone numbers, and that needed to be updated. We're also going to do a lot more work with local media outlets proactively. I know there was plenty of media coverage following the event, but as the event's unfolding, we've been in discussions with local media organizations to help them get the word out as it's happening so the people are aware and can react in time. We're also collaborating with the community, the Citizens Advisory Board for direct outreach with community organizations. This would be vulnerable members of the community that maybe need some extra attention or need to be contacted in the event of such a disruption to the system. And then one of the things we've done most and has been most noticeable is a proactive social media presence. So I'm going to continue to explore that a little bit more. Again, our internal municipal stakeholders have been updated via our emergency response plan. We've updated the contacts. We're continuing to do that. We do have a few stragglers that we're trying to trace down, but by and large, we've done a lot of work there to make sure that those initial contacts are going out to where they need to be. And then, because that's really the essence of how the communications response takes place. I mean, we need people who are in the know to know what's going on, and not having that as being as effective as it should be on June 19th really proved to be a big issue here, and we've taken great steps to rectify that. Then here we are with the public facing communications. Again, we've appealed and will continue to appeal to residents and customers to sign up for the alerts with the Ware River Water System. Again, that's an opt-in. We do not have the capability to go out and grab phone numbers. We need people to actively participate that, but we're going to continue to advise them to do so, and we're going to make a broader appeal, as I'll get into further along in this presentation. We've also launched a Facebook page, which you know, in our preliminary discussions on this, we recognized that, you know, we needed to have a presence on social media that was our own voice, that was an authoritative voice in the event of emergency that told people exactly what was going on. Because social media is a double-edged sword. You know, you have people, if there's a you know, vacuum of information, people will fill it with things that they think they heard. Whereas if Weir River Water System comes out and says this is what's happening and it's on social media, people can then share that. So this has been in place for about a month and a half. It's been used very well since then. I know there have been a few events, water main breaks, some minor instances. There's also been some routine maintenance that's been done, and just letting people know that, you know, when they see a truck on the street, this is what's going on. When you see people working on the system, this is what's going on. It's a very useful tool to inform people and let them know how to respond accordingly. And we'll get into that a little further along. We've also met with the Citizens Advisory Board to develop connections with community organizations, active living communities, disabled communities. We're talking with generating a contact list for medical centers, schools, daycares, the sort of places that, you know, in the event of an emergency like we had on the 19th, we're able to contact them directly and say, look, this is what's going on. Whatever you need from us to help you respond, please let us know. So, and again, our media outreach is something that we had not been doing previously. We've developed relationships with local news outlets, including the Hingham Anchor, Cohasset Anchor, Hull Times. These are very useful organizations as an event is ongoing to help us get the word out. So people can turn to these organizations, their social media presence, their web presence, and figure out exactly what's going on. That's the purpose of our media. That's why local news is so necessary, because they provide the information to people who need it. We've also developed relationships with regional and TV, online media, all the networks. And this got a lot of coverage, and as it should have. And you know, we've worked with them to get the right word out again. And in the event of anything of this scale, you know, we're able to get them the information they need so that residents will know exactly what's going on. But in order to let people know about what we're doing to increase this communication bandwidth, we can develop a marketing plan that highlights what we've done, how people can get tuned into it, and how they can be more proactive in getting news about the water system. So just a little background on how notifications are handled internally. Once an issue is identified, whether it's via our personnel or via a customer call, the information is shared directly with the managing director, the superintendent, the assistant superintendent. From there, if warranted, the information goes on to stakeholders, DPW, OEM, fire departments, Board of Health, municipal leadership, select board members, so that everybody who would potentially be involved in the response here is aware of what's going on. Again, this was an issue in the June 19th event because there were some lapses in that first sort of branch of the communication tree. Beyond that, if warranted, notify. And again, notify is an opt-in Veolia automated notification system that goes to customers. Information is then disseminated through that to people who have signed up for it. We'll also add stuff to the website so that people can go to the website and see exactly what's going on. Additionally, whatever we post on the website now, we can then share with social media. And that's the authoritative voice of the Weir River Water System, letting residents know what's going on and what to expect. Beyond that, again, if warranted, we will do outreach to designated community organizations and media outlets as well. So we're looking at a couple levels of response. I mean, there are a variety of things that impact the water system, and it's important for us to make sure that we have we've tailored a level of response that is in line with sort of public expectations and media expectations of how we should respond to these incidents. So things like planned work. I know we had a post today about a brand new hydrant that went in. These are things that, again, when people see that there's work being done, they want to know what it is, because it could could impact their water system. So we put out information proactively, letting people know what's going on. Also, in the event of a minor emergency repair, something that impacts either an individual home or a very small, like one street or a couple houses, we still want to get that out there so that people know that this is what it is. This is the degree to which the system will be impacted. In that case, we'll post it on the website. We'll post on Notify specific to the impacted area. It's not a system-wide sort of notification, but letting people know in that area that, hey, this is what we're doing. Just a heads up. This is how to respond. And then we'll also add to the social media so that, say, someone's driving down the street, sees the truck out there, they're not thinking the worst, which, we don't want them to do that. We want them to know exactly what's going on and have the information they need to make a decision about how it's going to impact their home and what they need from the water system. So that's level 1. Level 2 would be something that's maybe a little larger, something like a water main break, a discoloration event, not to the scale that we had on June 19th, but again, there have been smaller discoloration events within the system. So our response to that would be, the website, the social media, Notify, and then we'd reach out to local media as well, because if it's something that's going to get people talking, we want to make sure that local media knows what's going on and doesn't go off, what they heard from someone else. We want to be an authoritative voice in getting the information out on this. A level 3 response is something that's a little more in line with what we had on June 19th, where it's more than 50% of the system. It's more than 72 hours. It's we're more than a couple of days. It's something that's going to be impactful and people need to be aware of. In that case, again, we'll use the website. We'll use our social media resources. We'll use the Notify. We'll reach out to local media and let them know proactively what's going on, and this is what the response should be. We'll reach out to those community organizations that are most at risk, that could be impacted in unique ways due to this scenario. And then we're also working on getting some road sign electronic signboards so that people who are passing through town know what's going on and they can get the information they need. Again, this is all part of it's sort of a comprehensive response, because no one thing is going to be the answer. We need to continue to just use every avenue we have to get information out there in the event of these situations. A level 4, that's something that's, that's something big. That's either a widespread natural disaster, man-made incident that disrupts the water system. It's going to be, known by many, but it's going to start with us, using the web, using social media, using the Notify tool, local media, again, direct community outreach to critical users, people who need a specific and specialized response to this. The electronic signboards, and then regional media. Something we'll be in touch with them for something that's going to be big and impactful, and create a situation for a couple days. And again, this is all based on experiences that we've had in Veolia. This is also based on input from the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection on how to respond to these things. How to quantify them as level 1, 2, 3, 4. We want to follow their rules. A lot of everything we did here was done with the in accordance with the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection, and we'll continue to do that. But to let people know within Hingham within Hingham Hall and Cohasset about what we're doing, we have to let people know that these steps have been taken, and we'll continue to build off these steps. So what we plan on doing is adding messages to the bills, letting people know that they should sign up for the Notify program. They should look for our social media, and they should look for our input in local media. We're also going to do the same on the social media page itself, telling people how to sign up for the alerts, letting people know what the alerts are for and how it works. You can get them when you sign up for the alerts. You can have them come via email, have them come via text. However, it's best and most digestible for people. I know there were some issues where people thought they were getting too many alerts following the June 19th event. So we want to make sure that people are getting it the way they want it and can respond to it. We're also looking at doing a marketing outreach campaign through local media. We've been in conversations with them on that, and that should be moving forward. And then we're also looking at doing some direct mailing, postcards, letting people know that this is how we're responding to this, and it's important for us all to get on the same page in the event of a situation like this, so that everybody knows what's going on. And that's basically the update. And if you have any questions, we have our customer service information here, including the phone number for people who have regular questions or operations questions. If anybody has any concerns about water quality, we have a specialized email for that. It's waterquality@weirriverwater.com. There's been some talk about abatements regarding the water during that scenario over the 19th and the following weekend. For questions on that, it's abatements@weirriverwater.com. Our Facebook page is Facebook.com/weirriverwater. And my email is here, christopherhalloran@veolia.com, if anyone has any specific questions for me.
John, anything you wanted to add?
No, hopefully, it's certainly a work in progress, and we're certainly looking for feedback. And one thing I can assure you is that as we begin to use this new line of communication and system, if we find additional ways to improve it, we'll adapt and take on those recommendations. Just like what happened in June 19th, we won't know how effective it is until we use it. Hopefully, we never have to use it, but we're certainly going to continue to learn lessons as we go. But I think this is a really improved and good first step in improvement of those communications. So, and certainly looking for feedback. So.
Thank you, and thank you, Chris, for putting that together.
Thank you.
I am going to turn it over to my colleagues, but before I do, I just want to focus on one aspect, which is the notify, the opt-in system. Does that work? Do you need to be logged into your account in order to do that?
So I can talk to that, Joel, because I went through it today just to see how it works and everything. But one thing I want to bring up was like the notify system is run by Veolia.
Right.
The website is shared, so we all, between myself, Kate, Joshua, whoever gets there first and gets it up is what we go for right now, which has worked very well, because actually 2 people beat me today, so it worked out well for us. And then the Facebook right now is under control of myself, Brian, and Kate. As far as that goes, yes, they got to register their account. So what we did do is we created, I don't know if you can pull up our website, Michelle, we did create a new button on our website today that says notify me. And what it does is explains the process of how to get into your account. So if you don't register online with Veolia, you're not going to get in the notify account. And it's not an opt-in, it's actually an opt-out for emails. So when you register with your email, you're automatically put on our list. When you go in, you can actually add a phone number, but there is a button that you have to click to say, I don't want it.
Got it.
And it's actually hard to do, because I tried to do it today, and I actually had to go to the no button to make it, yes, I don't want it. It's a good little system, because it doesn't let you do it too easily. It's really actually hard to opt out. We just recommend that everybody opt in, because I went through the numbers, and currently we have 12,755 accounts in the town. That's just the number of service connections. So if you double that, it's about 24,000 to 30,000 people. Our last campaign that went out was 10,000 people, and that includes probably 10% of houses that have 2 people on it. So we're looking at probably 8,500 people, or residents or customers that are in it, than the others aren't. So when people say we didn't get it, I say, well, please log in and do it. The other thing we had was 500 fails, which means it never got there, which is usually an email address issue or a telephone number issue. So basically, if you go on this notify me, it walks you through the process and make sure you check your email, your phone number. We are going to put this out, like John was saying, Chris was saying, on a campaign. So we are looking at maybe doing a postcard. We will throw it right on the bills now, just a quick message. But I think we're going to do a more robust campaign with some type of postcard or something like that.
So my question is there a reason that you need to sign into an account in order to opt in to receive messages? So I know, for example, the town, anyone can say, I want to get messages, I want to find out what's going on. And there'd be a number of reasons. For example, people who rent properties, the renters may not have an account. we need to inform them.
So we're working on that because.
But,
Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
rather than working on it, why can't anyone opt in? What is the,
That'd be for them.
what is the issue? At least, you can, it's technically very easy to create an opt-in email that you sign up, say, I want to get messages, and it happens. Why isn't that happening now?
In all candor, I don't have an answer for you, but I will take that back and I will get you an answer. I'm sure there's is a function of the software, but whether that function can be adapted to do just what you wanted to do, I'll get back.
So Russ, you do know that the town has an opt-in system. Someone can sign up and they can get alerts for the senior center, for whatever. Why, and my question is, why can't we do that for the water system? Because I think there's a sizable group that do not have accounts who want to have access. There may be people who, maybe one person in the family controls the account, but somebody else wants to have access. And it's not as if this is hidden information. This is not billing information. This is information about what's going on in the water system. Arguably, it's even going to be available on Facebook. I guess I'm missing why we're not allowing anyone to sign up.
And that's the only thing that we haven't ironed
Okay.
out just yet.
Okay.
So we are working on, Tom and I were talking about something else last week that we were looking at.
Right.
The other thing is, we're gonna contact all the condo associations, because one of the things is, they all get it, the condo association, the
Right.
management company, and I'm sure they have an email for all the condo people. So why can't they force that one to push for now? So push our message to them, push it to all their condo association people. So that's something we're gonna work on the next couple weeks, but we are trying to figure out how we can hopefully utilize CCNB to do whoever wants to be notified, but if not, we will find another way to do it. We absolutely will.
Okay.
The, Right, so it's tied to the account. We can make up CSV files where we could load email addresses into it.
Sure.
They're gonna get every notify we send out. It won't be, you think now we can tailor it to certain areas? But if we build a file of people who don't have accounts and just load their emails in.
Sure.
and we send them out, they're gonna get every notify that goes out, which, that's what we're trying to work around.
We're trying to
Maybe
avoid
too
that.
much.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They'd be getting hit with everything.
So if
Well,
we have
so,
a break
but-
in Lower Hull, then South Hingham's
Right.
gonna get it, and it really doesn't apply to them.
Right, but that's easily addressed, because, for example, again, the town of Hingham, you can sign up to get virtually everything, or you can sign up for a separate list that says, I only want senior center information, not every notice that goes out. So you create different lists. You can have a list for Hull, you can have a list for Hingham, and it would be only for service interruptions. So they're not going to get everything. They would only get whatever they sign up for.
We'll
If they
we'll
sign
definitely,
up for a Hull, they'll get all the Hull. If they sign
Right.
up for Hingham, they'll get all the Hingham.
Right.
We can break it out that way,
Right.
for sure, yeah.
Yeah, so I think there are ways to create list management, if you will, that will facilitate communications, that'll make it easier for residents and, quite frankly, some non-residents who may just be here for like 1 month a year to get the information.
I'm 100% on board with you with
Okay.
this. The only problem I have with it, the only problem I have right now with the way it
Sure.
works is, if we send out a notice through the CSV file, it's not automatic. Someone has to actually pull the CSV file in, which is not the way it should work. So
No.
we don't want to start that process without having a very simple way of doing it. Because if someone forgets to pull in the CSV file, then all those people
Right,
don't get
right.
notified. And that happened only maybe once, where we didn't pull in the stakeholders, which is all of us. And we don't want that to have, that person have to do extra steps. So we're trying to figure out how to do that
Right.
the easiest and most effective way.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So with that, Liz, I will turn that over to you.
Thank you. Well, thank you for presenting, Chris, and thank you for putting together the communications plan. This is certainly something we needed, and I look forward to using it going forward. My mic is on. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay. So I think the postcard is a great idea. The old-fashioned mailers are quite effective right now. So I think that's critical. I think, an important piece of this, to follow on to Joe's comments, is that people need to opt in. So please go to the website, opt in for the communications. If you use social media, follow the Facebook page, follow the Hingham Anchor page. If you're in Cohasset, their page, the Whole Times has a page. I know we talked about the electronic sign boards. Do we have a timeline for getting those?
I have to get prices, because we don't have them personally wherever, I usually borrow them from the DPW, but I
Right.
think we're gonna use them more, so it's time for us to get our own, stop borrowing it from everybody, so I'm gonna work with, DPW and the police department, see if I can get on wherever they go.
Okay, great. And in terms of the different levels of communications and what's happening, have we tested those? Like, do we have a communication tree that we've tested at those different levels?
We have an emergency response plan,
Okay.
which we do go through every year. It's part of, the DEP requires us to.
Okay.
We'll probably now incorporate these into that plan, so we will definitely run through it every year. But we all have been doing this kind of layout for the past week and a half, and it's been working very well.
Okay,
Like I said, people are beating me to the website, which is great.
okay,
So it's working very well now, way better than it was before.
okay, great.
Now I was told I can repost to Facebook and get an update, so I might have to learn how to do that today, so.
Okay,
You're going to be a master.
yes.
No.
So if people, especially if you have not opted into all of these things, if they notice an issue or experience an issue, the first step is to go to the Rear River Water System website, correct?
Correct.
And that will that have a banner or a message on the
It says
homepage?
notify me, and you click on it, and it has all the stuff that we have been working on, so how to get into all that. Michelle just popped it.
Right, but if there's an actual
sorry.
message,
It
like.
goes in our news flash, just like the town's news flash.
Okay, so is that pretty obvious, like in the beginning of the?
It's right at the very beginning
So
of the news
the
flash.
latest news, is that what we're talking about? Right, it'll be right there.
So like right now, we have an emergency repair on Robbins Road in Hingham, we're working on.
Okay,
But that popped out on Facebook right away, and then we got all that set up, so.
yes,
There is no way to put a banner across, Kate and I have talked about it, we don't have that capability on our websites. So there's no like flashing red lights or anything. But
okay.
Maybe it's something we look to in the future for if there's
Yes.
an emergency.
Hingham
Yeah.
zoning doesn't allow flashing.
Well,
lights.
no, but HMLP has a very effective website, so we
They do.
should look at that.
They do.
Yeah. Okay, the only other thought is, in terms of, I know one of the lists that we talked about were the schools. They have, every student enrolled fills out a lot of paperwork, and you can opt in on that page for your information to be shared with community organizations like the Hingham Sports Partnership, Hingham Education Foundation. I think we should try to add town news and Weir River Water System news. So it's voluntary, no one has to do it, but it's just an easy way where you're already filling out the paperwork, and that gets to a large population. But this is great progress. Look forward to continuing to work on it, so thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a great tool too. Yeah, if you have people filling that out and we can add that as another option for them, then that's very handy.
Okay.
So thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Bill?
Yeah, so just to kind of go over some of these other points. So, what Joe was referring to is on the town website, when you opt in for these notifications, you just check a box. So I'm sure there's a way you could do it, like Hull, Hingham, Cohasset, all water main breaks, just those in my town. And if I would encourage you to go to the website in town, because Joe's right. You can pick up, I just want information about the Center for Active Living. I just want information about, select board events. And what I do, you check them all, and you get information about everything going on. But it's a consumer's choice, really. So I think Joe's right. You could just, rather than send every water main break notification out to every consumer, you can partition it out to just getting information to those who want it. But that being said, more information is better than less, right? So if you can't figure that out and you have to notify everybody and that people want it, then let people know what's going on.
So just to parlay on that, if people are on our system and the notify system, when we do like a break and low or Hull, we box that area in, and those are the only people that get the notify. So that's why that system's really good. So how we can add, I think the point is, how can we add people to the notify system if they don't have an account registered?
Yeah.
That's what we have to look at. And maybe it's a notified thing, and maybe it's something that we could add to it, maybe it's an add-on or whatever, but I think that's something we can all look into in the next couple of days to see if that's possible. Because again, you circle an address and it'll go just to that house.
Right,
So it's
right.
the way it works is really, it's really good the way it works. It's just getting people to get into it. but how do we make that simple for the people that don't have accounts? So
Right.
I think we understand what you're asking. I think we'll look into that definitely.
So that's great, that's great, that's my first point. The second point about, this is to Liz's point about informing residents of these services, right? So the awareness campaign, and Chris, thanks for putting that together, I thought it was very good. The awareness campaign, the bills, right? So the bills, most of the bill, I think the bill's electronic, right? When I open my electronic bill, I go to one thing, I look at the cost. I don't read the rest of the bill. I go to the cost is high, I look at my usage. But so that's gonna be a tough way to get people
Agreed.
to buy in, right? Second thing is social media. I signed up for your page. Tom told me it was in existence, thank Tom. But you don't have a lot of people there yet, right? So people don't know it's there yet. So that's gonna be a tough way to get information out to people too, initially. The best ways are the anchors, I think, and direct mail. So the Hingham Anchor has a high viewership, as does Cohasset, and I think the Hull Times might have one as well. So the local media is going to be a good way to get the word out. And then direct mail, I think, is also a good source. I know when I get my Hingham Light bill, there's flyers in there for other organizations. I always kind of look at, see what it's about. And that's I think those are your two best ways to get the word out about some of your awareness campaigns, which I think is good. My last point is going to be something that we've talked about, Russ, and I'm going to emphasize this again. I'm on the notify list, so I get all those informations, probably because I'm a water commissioner, but, if I get notification of a main break in Hull or Cohasset or any part of Hingham. So I think you do a really good job letting us know that the break or the event occurred. What's going to be important here is updates about how the event is progressing, right? So the social media page is going to be successful, but who's ever running that page, and I think it's the assistant superintendent is going to run that page, I think.
Ryan isn't when he comes back.
Great, all right, well,
He's out for
somebody's
2
running.
weeks, so now it's on Russ.
But people want to know,
Yeah.
like, updates. Okay, so, yeah, we're still working on the main break on North Street. We anticipate 4 more hours, right? Or making progress, should be done in an hour. People constantly go to that as a source of information. So you guys do a really great job saying, hey, we have a break, we're working on it. What's going to assess the success of that website and that page is going to be the updates. So individuals in the field need to be transmitting that information back to the individual who has the social media page. That is what is going to drive the success of it, and people want to know, okay, my water's been out 4 hours. What's going on? How much longer? Am I going to get it tonight? It's going to be tomorrow? Even if it's bad news, people just want to know. They want to know. But they can kind of sit there and it's like, okay, I've been out at 8 o'clock this morning, now it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, don't really know when my water's getting back on. The updated information is the key to driving the success of that Facebook page, in my opinion. So, but I think this is a good plan, good start, and I appreciate all your efforts, Chris, and the team over here. Thank you.
We're going to test that update in about a half an hour when I go out to Robbins Road and see how we're doing, and then we're going to test it.
Yes, good, great, excellent,
However it
excellent.
comes out, don't yell at me, because I'm new at this.
I'm sure it'll come on great, Russ.
No, I mean, I know you say that in jest, but we do appreciate there's a learning curve. and-
Thanks.
And we know we're all going up it together, so thank you. I do want to follow up with a couple questions, and really, in part, following up on what Liz and Bill were saying and questioning it. Because I thought that Hingham Light and the water company and everyone is trying to get people to not get the mail, that you should be able to opt out, say, I don't want to get my bill in the mail, I just want it electronically, saves paper, saves the environment. Are either of you suggesting that we continue to have mailed communications going out if people have opted out of that?
No, and I'm not suggesting going back to paper bills, but I think one initial mailing with a QR code to opt into
Sure.
these things, the Facebook and the notify system makes sense.
But I don't see the mail as an ongoing
I agree.
process, because I think, again, the drive for cost-saving purposes, environmental purposes is, let's get it done without
That's why we're working on
trees.
postcards too, because the postcards are the most, eco-friendly thing to do, to send it out. And I think if
Right.
we do the right
Yeah.
thing, it'll be good.
okay.
Can I just add, Russ?
Yeah.
This is, we're going to use, for the initial outreach, we're going to use every tool we have here because we want to make sure that people know. And we can all sit here and discuss how people get their news and information, but we don't know the individual. So anything that's available to us, we're going to take advantage of it initially. And then based on the rates of success
Sure.
with that, we'll figure out where to continue to put our efforts. But yeah, I think, using everything we have, using the mailing, which is an independent mailing from the bill. We're going to add a message to the bill, and yet not everybody reads it, but we're going to take advantage of that opportunity because we have it. Then we're going to do the secondary mailing, which will be a separate mailing. We'll have a QR code for people to sign up for stuff, and we're going to keep working on our own social media to broadcast it. But I'm looking forward to doing work with the local media because I think that will also be a very effective means. But between all of them, we're going to start spreading the word, and then people can talk to other people and let people know, hey, you should sign up for this. In terms of the municipality, each individual municipality, we love their help in promoting this as well. If they have a system that's impactful and can get people to respond to it, then yeah, please let us know, and we'll do whatever. We'll tailor whatever we need to do with each individual municipality to help them get the message out to get people signed up for this.
Well, there is one old school method, which is there's a bulletin board at the library. There are bulletin boards that people actually look at. So getting things posted there, I think, would be helpful.
We'll post the postcard.
Yeah. I did hear, and I'm not sure if I heard it right, that what we did in terms of communications was in compliance with state DEP standards. I'm not aware. Does DEP have standards for communications?
Only when when you have like an E. coli hit or something like that, they craft their own notifications, so.
Okay.
No, not for that, but for some of the higher level ones,
Sure.
there are notifications, yes, that are crafted.
Joe, I think what Chris was talking about was the 4 level, the level
Sure.
1s, 2, 3s, and 4s. That was consistent with the DEP reporting structure.
Got it. Can you share with us, if you can, how what you're proposing here compares with what other towns are doing, what you're doing in other communities, just so we have a sense of where we are and how we compare?
Chris, you want to take?
Yeah, I
that
can
one?
certainly take that. As through contract operations, we deal with a different sort of. Every town does it differently. In some places, Veolia does a lot. In other places, the town would rather do it because they have a better means of getting in touch with people. But I would say that what we're proposing here is one of the more robust outreach programs that we have. But it's also in conjunction with the municipalities, and it's going to take the combined effort of all of us to make sure that it's most effective. But I think we're doing a lot here, and we're doing a lot of progress, particularly with the establishment of the social media page, and using that as a daily tool that people get used to, and people become accustomed to it, so that when they do have questions, like, all right, what's going on? Let's take a look at the Facebook page and see if there's any updates there. So I do, a lot of this, a lot of the changes that we made here stem from our successes in other projects, other communities, and we're hoping it's going to work very well here, and hoping that keeping our foot on the gas with this will be very beneficial, because it's letting people know that these tools are here are essential to us, having them be most effective when we need them.
And if I could just add,
Please.
this is definitely a work in progress. This is not a one and done, and I think we will continue to adapt. We'll certainly and we'll probably will get feedback on how things are going, and I think we'll certainly take that feedback. Hopefully, it'll be positive feedback. I'm sure we'll probably get some negative, but I'm hopeful that as these notifications become more routine and people start to see them, we'll see what the feedback comes back on, how they feel it's happening. Is it too often? Is it not enough? Are we answering questions about updates and progress in a time that makes sense to people? So,
And then getting back to events such as what we had in June, and we talked about it's important to get the correct message out, get it to the right people, and get it done timely. Who has the authority to push the button and say, message going out now? Who starts that? Is it you, Russ? Okay.
Yep.
Well, and Brian, right?
Well, but the contract says that we have to approve any notification that goes
Right,
out through
okay.
Veolia. It would be Brian, but it would go through me to start.
Right, so that, part of, what Bill talked about and what Liz talked about is, we need to make sure that it goes out and that there's not, like, people get one message and there's nothing else. So the fact that you're in control gives me comfort. That's great. Anyone else from Veolia before I open it up to anyone else here and then members of the public?
For comment?
Yes.
I think we're good.
Joe, I had one
Yep,
last
please.
thing. So you heard Liz say it earlier. I made a note of it. The postcard, make sure there's a QR code on it.
I like that idea, because I was thinking about how much I could put on a card, and I'm like, well, and then Liz just said, oh, QR code, I'm like, good.
Yeah, and the postcard affords us the opportunity to make a nice graphic, too, something that'll catch someone's eye, right? So I do love that idea. We've done that in other places. I know I've personally have been involved in stuff like that as well, so.
It's been a good week, Facebook and QR codes, I'm good.
You're up to date. Art, Michelle, Tom, anything with it? Any member of the public with comments or questions? I am seeing and hearing none, so I really appreciate your time and your willingness to come here on a repeated basis to make sure that the message is out and that progress is being made. So thank you.
Thank you for this opportunity as well. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Look forward to continuing to work with you to optimize this, because as John said, this is a work in progress, and we'll adapt to whatever feedback we get. So thank you.
So you guys are still on, because the next item on our agenda is just a Veolia and Water Superintendent update. And so, Russ, I'm going to start with you.
I have a very short update. The Itasca seawall's starting this week. We did get the materials for the new water main, and contractors provided us with a quote. So I reviewed that, and we're probably gonna approve that, so that job will be done. And actually, from the numbers I'm looking at, it's gonna be about $300,000 under budget. So that's a great price for us, because the contract's already there. As far as other things that are going on, I am going over the final numbers for the year, so I don't have any real updates on financials. But we made budget, and we did well this year. And going forward with some of our capital improvement work, the tank is still ongoing with the design. We are gonna do some drilling in the next couple of weeks to test the soils and see what we can put it on. Besides that, everything else is going as normal.
Would the drilling lead to any
Test
disruption?
borings to make sure the soil can handle the weight of that new tank.
Right, but we're not talking about something that would disrupt water
No,
distribution,
no,
right?
absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Right.
And then we're deciding about the building that's existing on the property. We're gonna see, we may have to take that down, but we'll see what happens.
Okay. Anything you want to add?
Okay, hey, so just a couple of updates with the water company. The unilateral flushing program has been mapped out with gate valves that need to be checked. We're in the process of checking these gates to identify any broken gates that we may need to replace for the unilateral flushing. An update, our 4 filters at the treatment plant have all had new stainless under drains installed with fresh carbon. We've added 2 new centrifuges. Those are installed and running, and the first inspection of the earliest installed shows a fantastic, no wear, no tear, no,
Right.
great shape. And that's in keeping with the warranty, so that's why you need to do that. We've completed 8 well rehabilitations, and we are not hurting for water, because we have done that ahead of time. We do that every year. As far as staff, we are onboarding a cross-connection coordinator. He starts September 3rd. Service Tech has accepted the offer that we've given him. He's giving a 2-week notice, and then he will start working for us. I'm interviewing a great candidate for the plant O&M tech, operator maintenance, on Friday at 8, and all goes well, I anticipate getting him on board. I have a couple more interviews for meter reading during this rest of this week. We are planning on purchasing and looking into it anyways, virgin carbon, 80 tons to store in the plant ahead of the price increases that will most definitely come. The plant is big enough to store it, so we would be able to quickly exchange carbon, and a filter would be down for a day. This is, so 80 tons of carbon, that's enough to do 2 filters. So then we would send out the carbon, it would be regenerated, we'd get our carbon back again, and so we would know exactly where it's been and the condition that it's in.
So just so people know, out there in the world, that the carbon is one of our best sources to fight PFAS. As the PFAS degenerates the carbon, we start to see increases in PFAS. We have never gone over the limits that are right now, but the new limits coming in, we want to make sure we have carbon in stock so that if it drops to where we are not happy with it or very concerned with it, we can just do a quick change out. So as soon as those prices come in, I'll look at it, and if we have it in the budget, we'll definitely buy it, just so that we have it ready to go.
That's right. Also planning and preparing for a sanitary survey, which occurs every 3 months, 3 years, I'm sorry. And if you remember, the last sanitary survey we had was pretty good,
Except for the hurricane that was
putting that,
over our heads when it happened.
but that's okay, we still did good.
We did.
Yes.
So that would be, we're almost fully staffed with just the one meter reader person we're still interviewing. But I fully anticipate within a month's time, we should be fully staffed.
Great, thank you.
Does anybody have any questions?
Bill? any-
No questions, thank you.
No questions. Thank you, Darren.
Yep.
Any member of the public? So are there members of the public with questions or comments on items not on the agenda for the Ware River water system? I am seeing none. I know I speak for the board in thanking Russ, the work that you've done, and the Veolia team for the work that they've done, because we view this as, it's not only a vital resource for the town and for not just our town, but it's something that the residents use every day. And so we really appreciate your attention and your commitment to make this a success. So thank you. And with that, I will take a motion to adjourn.
No, we haven't.
Oh. I'm sorry, I thought is this on with respect to the water system?
Yes, correspondence I've sent to you guys twice with no response.
So, okay, so I'm sorry. I thought I did ask for, if you, any member of the public had comments, if you wanted to come up here.
I understood it to be directed to the operator.
Oh, I'm sorry. No. No. So I'll ask again. Got it. No, they're here for the duration. So they have to earn their red shirts, so they're gonna stay here. So if you can just give us your name and address for the record, and then please proceed.
Yeah, my name is Ed Ryberg. I live at 3 Oakcrest Road in Hingham. And I'm here to follow up on 2 letters that I had sent the board. So one back in May and one recently, the end of July. I don't know if you've received those finally, or if
Yes.
you've had a chance to read them.
Yes.
If you have had a chance to read them, then I won't belabor the details, but what it amounts to is that I received, my wife and I, a letter back in May, very threatening letter, saying, you've had multiple quarters with only estimated readings. You haven't returned our calls to try to set up for a new meeting, and then cite a chapter and verse of how they're going to shut off the water. The only problem is we didn't have any estimated readings. They were actual readings, and we were never contacted by the water company. So I wrote a letter to you all. I I called the water company, and I did get a new meter May 7th. Wouldn't you know, the next quarter bill, another letter comes, identical to the first. You've had repeated estimated readings over the last quarters. You're not returning our calls. Both, again, false statements. Never contacted by the water company and not estimated readings. So instead of writing you guys this time, I said, okay, since I didn't get a response to my first letter, I said, okay, I'll call the water company. And I explained it to the lady I spoke to. I said, I just got a meter. Why am I getting this letter? And she said, oh, yeah, let's see. Yeah, you did just get a meter, but it's not working. I said, well, that's not my fault. And she said, well, we send this letter out to everybody that gets an estimated reading. So they're accusing everybody that had an estimated reading that they're not returning calls and not cooperating with the water company, and the water company could get your water gets shut off. That upsets me. She then transferred me to the supervisor of customer relations. And would not even acknowledge my concern. He just kept saying, you need a new meter. You probably hit the meter. You probably covered it with something. I said, we didn't do any of that. I made another appointment. The tech came out. I watched him replace it, or maybe just the sender part. And he did it so fast. I said, how do you do that? He said, I replace a lot of these. So it's not unusual, apparently, for these readers not to work, or senders, or whatever they are. So I just think that whole policy of sending threatening letters, not based on fact, is unprofessional, and I think it's a bad policy, and I think it definitely not conducive to good customer relations. So I thought the board should be aware of this if you weren't already. Maybe I'm the first one complaining about it, but it goes over Mr. Tierney's signature. And so every time an estimated bill comes, I guess the computer cranks out a letter. As I said in my last letter, all it would take was a simple little call. Look, there's something wrong with the new meter we put in. Can we come out and fix it? And say, sure, come out and fix it. Everybody'd be happy, and I wouldn't be here tonight.
Yeah, so I think the points you're making are valid. I've spoken to Russ to make sure that the communications are honest and that we're not sending anything out that's not accurate. I think you're experiencing what others will experience in other situations, which is sort of a bureaucratic churn out of a letter as opposed to making sure that what's in the letter specifically applies to you. And I think you deserve an apology for that. And I think we're going to make sure that the communications are clear and are accurate, because that's
I
clearly
don't need
our
an
goal.
apology. I would just like to see this policy
Yeah.
change. And I'd like to see, everybody I spoke to worked for Veolia, not for the town. When I ever have to call the town, people are friendly, they're responsive, they're respectful. These Veolia people were not any of those. And I thought that we'd get more personal attention when the town owned the water company.
Well, and it
And not
should.
just bureaucratic, Veolia that has water systems and sewage systems all over the country, maybe North America, cranking out bureaucratic letters totally based on false information.
Well, so you're right that the buck stops here, and they are our contractor, and so we'll make sure that it's handled properly.
All right, appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just added, I did not write that letter, but I want to read that letter because there's probably a lot of verbiage there that can be corrected, and I will work. I've written this down. I'm going to talk to. I know exactly who you spoke with in our customer service department. I'm going to contact them and see what we can do to make that a better letter and
John,
a
I
more
did make
cordial
some change-
outreach.
John, I did make some changes today to it, so we definitely can talk about it tomorrow, definitely.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, any other members of the public? Now, hearing none, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Roll call vote, Liz.
Aye.
Bill.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. The meeting of the Water Commissioners is now adjourned.